Ragusa, and today we are recapping last week's show where we talked about managing stress at work. I want to welcome my co-host Carlos Ponce, who is dialed in from Mexico City. Hi, Carlos. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tulio. It's good to have you here too.
Yeah, it's good to be here. So it was an interesting topic last week with Kavan Chandra talking about managing stress at work. And one of the things he talked about was this idea of go and shake your coworkers' hands instead of shaking the mouse all day. Of course, right now we're not being encouraged to shake hands as a
Of
way
course not.
to keep this coronavirus thing under control. But there were some key points that came out of that conversation that I thought were worthwhile recapping. If I remember correctly, the one key thing was find a ritual to take a break. Like his ritual, it was a Rubik's cube. You know, he gets this Rubik's cube, he goes around with it, he plays with it and gets people's attention and starts a conversation. And two was get into conversation with people face to face, right? So if you're at the cubicle all day and you're just heads down, one, have a ritual to go take a break, and two, use it as a way to spark up conversation. And lastly, be patient with yourself. I thought that was a really good point. Now, I liked a great deal this idea of finding a ritual. You know, he's got this Rubik's cube that he's used, but a ritual could be like you go make a tea. You know, I have a friend who makes matcha tea, which is it's like a whole ritual to make this Japanese tea, and that ritual takes him away from the moment, right? Whether it's you know, planning a meeting or in the middle of you know, working through the day, it's just something personal that he gets to do, and it allows him to become more present and take a mental break, if you will. And I really like that. I started thinking about that myself, like what kind of rituals can I implement to take breaks throughout the day? And I've done things like take a walk. I've gone to take a walk. Sometimes even if I'm on a phone call, I'll do it while I'm walking. So what's worked for you, Carlos? What are some of the things that you've done in terms of managing stress at work?
Well, definitely. Even though that, well, you and I both know that the environment at Nearsoft is really not that stressful as the one in in other companies. But when I get some kind of stress, I definitely pause or break for breathing exercises. Okay, so it's that really has worked for me many times in the past, and I have even applied it during maybe not only at work, but maybe during the transportation period that it takes me to get from my house to the office, for example, which is a long one. I break. You know, I break for breathing exercises. Sometimes people might even stare at me like, "What the hell is this guy doing?" Right? But it's all about remembering that whatever works for you. You got to do it regardless of what people think. So, as you say, rituals they work. They are reminders that we need to break, and also they ground us. And breathing for me definitely grounds me. And also, you mentioned the matcha tea part, and I have my own rituals with my coffee making machine. So those little things actually do work for me. Occasionally, I might even grab a pencil and might doodle something because I like to draw, as you probably know. So those would be my three things that I do regularly just to keep me relaxed and focused, and even grounded. You know, they help me to not how can I say this? To navigate mindlessly to a number of things that are really not relevant. So that's what helps me, Tulio.
Yeah, I really liked not only the idea of a ritual, but the idea of a ritual that engages other people. I think one of the things that stood out was this idea of
The
to manage
conversation
stress.
started.
Yeah, have a conversation. In other words, be in relationship with other people
Right.
on a basis of other than work, right? So
Mhm.
you know, it used to be the cooler, people would be like the cooler talk, but that was kind of a nice way to take a break and have a conversation. But we live more in a time where people are very into their work and we use technology to communicate. And quite often, in some respect, we've lost the art of the relationship in the office, right? The ability to just have 10 minutes to do nothing but banter about, nothing that's really that important, just to take a mental break. I love the idea of finding something that gets other people curious. Like in your idea, you'd like to doodle and you're a really good artist with that. I was thinking, what if you just went into the office and you started whiteboarding something and asked people to participate, to add to it? That could be a pretty cool way to create a ritual to get people talking and engaging. And I think that's the thing. I'd love to hear from any of the audience members what works for them, any rituals they've developed in the office to take a break, to engage other people, to just have like a 5-minute snooze, if you will, from the day. Those who have it, please post it in the comments, whether you're watching us on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or YouTube. Just please post your comments. We'd love to hear it, and it'd be a great thing to share with other people that are watching as well. Anything else stand out for you, Carlos, during our interview with Coven?
Well, yeah, actually, something that stood out was the fact that even though that our guest, I think he was part of a very demanding, not only company, but also culture, because he was in Germany. So I could assume that his entire environment is quite demanding. However, he seemed to me, I don't know if you perceived it the same, but he seemed to be very, 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 very relaxed and very even happy about the whole thing. So
yeah, he's got it dialed in. I mean, like just from the smile, you could tell he was like, no problem. I've got my ritual. I've figured out a way to take enough breaks, right. and I guess that goes back to this idea. Also, be patient with yourself. I was listening, like, what do you mean, be patient with yourself? Sometimes we put high demands on our own selves, right? And so I really appreciated that input about being patient.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else that stood out for you?
I guess that would be not really, other than the fact that I was encouraged because it kind of gave me hope, that regardless of how stressing an environment can be, you can always do something to keep you in a good level, and also to remind you that you should take your work seriously, yes, but not that seriously, because you got to remain calm, you got to remain approachable, you got to remain healthy. So it's all about a matter of balancing things out in a way that work for you, and then that you do your work, but you got to remain healthy, up here and up here. So I think that our guest achieved that very successfully. That was my impression. So
yeah,
I'll take the advice.
So for those listening, the biggest advice, the biggest input from the show is find a ritual that works for you, whatever that is. Get a little ball you're going to kick around and have some people join you do that in the office, or a Rubik's Cube, or anything else that's just a fun little thing. Get a puppet, have them talk to each other, whatever it is to take a mental break and engage with your colleagues in conversation, in relationship with things other than just work. And, like 5 minutes will do wonders in resetting the clock and getting yourself back on track. So thanks for joining us. We're going to continue to do these recaps. We'd love for you to join us. If you watch the show on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific and you want to participate and you picked up on something and you want to share with the audience, we'd love to have you be one of the squares right here in the video. It's very simple. We just need your computer, and we'll send you a link to join us, and you can be part of the DojoLIVE recap show just like us. Thanks for joining us. And what's coming up Wednesday for this Wednesday?
Wednesday, we are going to be having a conversation with Alex Bonardzik. I hope I pronounced it right. Bonardzik. Alex Bonardzik. He is the Director of Business Automation at Digital Expert. He's located in Vancouver. And we're going to be speaking about, I think the topic should be a great one, because it's about embracing failure as an agent of change. Okay. So in other words, what Alex mentioned is that we're going to be speaking about a journey from conservative or risk-averse, status quo-centric corporate culture to dynamic, process-oriented culture that values early and frequent failure. So, I'm eager to see how that pans out, and that's going to be happening right here on Dojo Live, Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific. Stay tuned, folks.
And with that, thanks guys for joining us, and we'll see you Wednesday.
See you Wednesday, Tulio. Have a good one.